I guess we need an intro. Let's go.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Hope everybody's doing great. Thank you once again for checking out the podcast, for coming back. And if it's your first time here, love you for checking it out. Thank you so much. As always, please do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, particularly this episode. This is a big episode for me. The topic, obviously, as you can see from the title, is quite important to me. And I would love you to share this with any of the men in your life and even any of the women in your life. I think this is an episode, although you've seen the title, this isn't just an episode for men. This is an episode, I think, in fact, probably more for women than for men, because I think it's quite, at least from my perspective, it's giving an explanation as to what I think that definition of what is a man is in today's world. And it's coming off the back of a lot of the last couple of months of my life, feedback, conversations I've had, run-ins I've had with guys and girls, and also experiences that I've had. Anyway, I'll get into it. I want to also just jump in by saying why this podcast also is quite big to me. Is this is the first, you're not going to get introduced to any guests today. This is the first episode that I'm doing 100% solo. And it's big for me because when I first set out to do this podcast, I was just like, hey man, I'm just going to set up a microphone and talk some nonsense into a microphone on my own, and I'll just put it out there and see what people think. And I discovered when I did the first few episodes that I was completely underwhelmed and unimpressed and unhappy with the results of those solo episodes. There was no energy in it. There was no energy is the best word for it. There was no spirit, there was no soul in it, and it was just very flat. And that's when I turned to, for those of you who have checked out the podcast, you know Simone. I turned to Simone and I said, hey Sim, I need some help launching this, man. I just can't do it on my own. And she was gracious enough to say yes, she'll do it with me, even though her doing that, and she made it very clear when she said she would do it, even though that was making her very, very uncomfortable. So I was super stoked with her, and I was very proud of her, and I was very proud of myself, I suppose, that I'd created something that had taken at least one human being out of their comfort zone and made them comfortable in the uncomfortable. And that has always been a theme of this podcast, is get comfortable in the uncomfortable. It came from sort of readings I'd done on David Goggins and Andy Frisella and like the cold plunging and things like that. It's literally one of the big themes of those places is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. So I was really proud of Simone when she did it, and I thought to myself, hey man, especially this topic that I'm talking about today, maybe it's time for you to get comfortable in the uncomfortable, because you were always uncomfortable doing this on your own. That's why you brought in Simone, which was a bit of a bitch move. Not that I feel like bringing Simone is a bitch move. I love Simone to bits, and I couldn't have done this without her. But it was me hiding away from being uncomfortable, and it's time that I got comfortable in the uncomfortable again, because it's been a little while. So I'm super stoked that I'm doing it now, particularly on this episode. So as I say, this is a super important episode for me, because as I've launched this podcast and as I've put it out there, and I've had friends, family, and even a few strangers reaching out to me to say, dude, I really appreciate what you're doing there. That's an interesting topic you just discovered. And this has been my experience. The most common feedback I've gotten without a doubt is people saying to me, hey man, I'm going through the same thing as you. I'm going through such a similar thing. Okay, it's never the same, but I'm going through such a similar thing to you. Another big theme of feedback that I've gotten from people has been a huge fear of failure. People saying, hey man, that podcast is cool. Like, aren't you scared like you'll fail? And I was going to do a podcast, but I was so scared to put it out there. I was going to start a business. I was so scared to do it because I was going to fail. So that's been a big theme as well. People come saying, hey, I'm really scared of failure, which has been super interesting to me. The answer to the question is, fuck no, I'm not scared of it. Maybe I failed so much in my life already that I'm just so used to it, but it doesn't matter to me. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, has this been a success? Have the business adventures I've been on over the last 9 months, 12 months, 2 years been a success? Yes. Are they making me tons and tons and tons and tons of money yet? No. But are they successful? Yeah, because they're fulfilling me. They're making me happy. Another big bit of feedback that I've gotten has been obviously people saying, hey man, I really admire you for putting it out there. And I don't get that, but I do also understand that. Two of the other big ones that I've gotten as well have been a struggle for identity. People coming to me saying, hey man, what you said, they really resonate with me, because I'm struggling to identify as that. I'm struggling to find my feet in that world. I've had my whole world lifted up and shook up, and it's all changed and all that. And also just a struggle for happiness and purpose. A lot of people saying, hey man, you sound really happy. You sound like you found a purpose here. It sounds like you've got a direction. I'm envious of that. And I'm like, that to me is quite sad, because I feel like everybody should enjoy that, because they're right. I have found a happiness and I have found a purpose, but I feel like everybody needs that and everybody should have that. And hopefully, if listening to these episodes and all the ranting that I do and all the people that I have on here gets people into one place at all, it's that just figure out what your purpose is, figure out where you're happy. Doesn't matter if it makes you money. Obviously, we need to pay the bills, but find something that makes you happy and fucking do it. So the topic of this podcast, though, being what is a man, and why is this such an important episode to me? Why is this such an important topic to me? So I've had I've noticed over the last few months a real rising in masculinity in my life and around me, in the people that I've been around, in the situations I've been in socially, in the family places I've been, in the work and career things that I've been up to, a real rising of masculinity. And I asked myself, why is this happening? Or why does this appear to be coming into my radar? And I think it's obviously one of the reasons because I'm single for the first time in a very long time. I don't talk much about my previous relationships out of respect for particularly my partner who I was with for a very long time. But I've also been doing a lot of recreational partying lately. Obviously, I talk quite openly and freely about the drum and bass and the impact it's had in my life, and the community that's actually introduced me to, particularly the guys at the Conclave, who I absolutely love and adore. It's a community of girls and boys, and I say that because we're still fucking children, as far as I'm concerned, not men and women, we're boys and girls, who are just absolutely a family, and I've become a very close member of their family. They become a very close member of my family in a very short amount of time. So I also have been doing a lot of this partying in my tribe. My particular tribe that I'm around most of the time is an absolutely legendary core group of females, 3 females that I party with. All 3 of them become exceptionally close friends of mine. I love them absolutely, each and every one of them, to bits. And beyond that core group, the 4 of us, there's a very good core tribe of people as well. And I've noticed over the last few months of going out and joining with them and like having a party with them, and not just only partying, but spending time with them, is that it's predominantly a female community. It's a predominantly very female community. And the reason for that is because the girls in this community, not just the 3 girls that I mentioned, but also the people beyond that, the next level of the crew, not one single one of these women is a weak woman. They are all, and I can say this with confidence, that each and every single one of them is exceptionally intelligent, like beyond levels of normal levels, unbelievably intelligent girls, unbelievably driven and determined girls, unbelievably confident girls. So when we go out and we are on a dance floor in the middle of the bush or something like that, these girls own it, man, and they deserve to own it. They're an absolute force to be reckoned with. There is no better way to put it. But what that did, particularly at a party we were at a couple of weeks ago, probably about a month ago now, a party called Earth Dance. Big shout out to Cody and Jade for the party that you guys threw, and the representation that you made for an international brand like Earth Dance. I highly encourage everybody next year and even beyond that, before that, please get in touch with me if you want to come with. It's a life-changing, life-changing party, and obviously it's a lot of music, a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, all that stuff, but it's way more than that. It's community, it's people, it's engagement, it's interaction, it's new experiences. So shout out to you guys for the party you threw and your crew. But particularly at that party, I was standing on the dance floor on some very, very good recreational drugs, and having an experience like I've been having over the last 9 to 12 months, really looking inward into my life and finding out, like, asking myself tough questions. And one of the questions that came to me on the dance floor as I was standing there listening to this absolutely meditative music, and with these unbelievably good people around me, and unbelievably good people around them, I started asking myself, like, where exactly am I? And what exactly does it mean at this stage? Like, here I am surrounded by all these strong females who are really, really a fun bunch of people to be around. But where do I as a man fit into this? And like, what is a man in this world? And again, this is what, you do in these environments and these drugs and that sort of thing. And it just really hit home to me. I started, one of the things that started coming to me was like asking that question and discovering that over the last few months, that's one of the most common things that a lot of the men that have reached out to me to talk about what I've been going through and what I'm sharing on this podcast have been expressing to me is like, what does it mean to them to be a man, and how they're always expressing this in private, in the DMs or in personal drinks, or coffees or whatever. And I got this feeling like it's something that I need to talk about, because I feel like there's a need to discuss this question of what do men actually identify themselves in, and how do they actually see themselves. I feel like it's something that we need to talk about in public, because again, these guys have reached out to me in private, and I like to think I'm building a platform here, which is a public platform that allows me to express these sorts of tough questions or uncomfortable questions in a public setting. And without these guys who've come up to me to talk to me about it, without them having to put themselves out there, or embarrass themselves or expose themselves, because I feel like there is a big fear of cancellation, for lack of a better word, if you do express these opinions. I don't maybe I'm too dumb to care, but I don't really care what people think, and what if people think that I'm expressing something that's taboo or shouldn't be spoken about in today's society. I think that this should be spoken about in today's society. So because it's a topic that rubs people the wrong way. I feel like as soon as you start describing or expressing in a public setting what it is to be a man, or how to be a man, or how to be proud of something that's manly, you get labeled as like a men's rights activist, as somebody who's like anti-feminist and like who wants to oppress women and doesn't believe in the advancement of women, or doesn't believe that women have a place in this world. And it got me thinking, like, there has to be, because the people that I'm talking to, the men that I'm talking to about this conversation are not men's rights activists. They are not woman beaters and woman haters. I'm not a woman hater. I'm not a woman beater. If anything, I'm one of the most pro-female people around. But I'm also fucking proud to be a man. I'm actually proud of what comes naturally to me, and what my natural urges to do certain things like protect and support and provide. These are things that men feel, and we want to be proud of that. And I'm not a men's rights activist. There's got to be a middle ground between being a soft-ass beta male soy boy who just bows down at the feet of women and completely rolls over, and the other side of the coin being this, I'm not going to say his name because I know that the algorithms don't like it, but the men's rights activist people I'm talking about, and his, he's got good messages, and I share some of his messages sometimes, but I also know that there is where there's smoke, there's fire, and there have been some things around that guy, particularly around human trafficking and all that nonsense. I don't know if it's true. I don't care. The reality is there's an association with that guy. Sometimes he says some really good things that I truly believe in, but there's got to be a middle ground between being a soy boy and being an Andrew, who. And I'm finding that I'm following a few of those people online now, and I've taken a lot of inspiration from a lot of those people. People like Andy Frisella. I'd make no qualms about how much of a fan of his I am. Of David Goggins, of the Echelon Front, Jocko Willink, and his book. These are guys who went to war and learned lessons in war and come back as men going, this is how you fucking do it. And I think there's got to be a middle ground there. It can't be one or nothing. So, like, there was a great story, and obviously living in Los Angeles, when I lived in Los Angeles for 2 years, obviously we see in the media all the time about how we're suppressing, you've got to be supportive of women, and you've got to be supportive of the left wing, and you've got to be pushing those agendas, and anything that's not that, you got to ignore. And I never actually saw it in South Africa until recently, when I shared something from Andrew, you know who. Well, actually what happened was the Conclave group, the drum and bass crew that I work with, the girls who run it, there's 2 girls who run it, and they run the social media. And they sent me a video. They know what I do on the podcast. They know the themes that I address. And they sent me a video by that guy, because they thought I'd be interested in it, and I was. I thought it was a super interesting video. So I shared it on the platform on my Instagram, and I gave them a shout out. And I thought that was the end of it. It was a positive message about not doing things individually on your own. This idea of a lone wolf is gone. Rambo in the forest is gone. You've got to do things in teams. And I don't give a shit who's sharing that message. I don't care if Joe Biden is sharing that message, or if Andrew, you know who is sharing that message. The message is a good message. Stop trying to operate on your own as an individual. Team up with people who have the same vision and the same objective and the same mission in mind, and pull your resources, because the people you're competing against are doing that. So you're already at a loss if you don't do that, right? That was the message. And we put it out there, and they tagged me, and I tagged them, and they gave us a shout out and all that stuff. And then they got a personal message, a DM from one of the people in the community who complained and said, hey, you shouldn't be sharing stuff by this guy. And the girls, these 2 girls who are absolute rock star social media girls, and who are beyond that, beyond their social skills, are absolute rock star human beings. Strong, independent, smart girls. Completely started second guessing themselves and started thinking, oh my God, we did something wrong. We're going to get canceled. We're going to affect the brand that we're building. Thank God the guys who I partner with in the brand, in the guys who started the Conclave, completely just jumped to my defense 100%, and like in a nice way shut this guy down and said, hey dude, not cool. You know, we stand for good messages no matter where they come from, kind of thing. So I share this because I realized even in South Africa, when you share things that are, it's not even a manly message. Do things in teams, don't do them on your own. It's not even a manly message. It's relevant for women as well. Some of the strongest brands and initiatives I've ever seen are by a bunch of girls getting together going, hey, let's do this together. So it's a message that's relevant. But even in South Africa, that kind of thing is like raises a flag, and we've become so sensitive to. So I just thought it's an opportunity for me to kind of share how I feel about being a man. And I think this is a message for young guys as well as old guys. This isn't for anybody in particular. And I also think it's very good for the women as well. In fact, as I said at the beginning, I think the one group of people who should be listening to this is women, because I think you can understand the men in your life a little bit better if you hear what I say here, because I know the men in your life are feeling this. For me, this episode is a little bit like the cancer episode that I did. For those who haven't seen it, in season 1, I had cancer when I was a kid. I was about 12 years old, I had a brain tumor and had cancer for a year. And I've got a mad scar on the back of my head, and I used to get a lot of people used to come up to me and say, dude, what happened to your back head? And I just thought to do an episode to explain what happened in that 1 to 2 years of my life, to me, to my family and all that. It's a great opportunity for me to record something so that I can then push those people who have questions towards that episode. So I don't mind discussing it or describing it, but it allows me to go into much more detail about what went on and what I learned from it. What an absolute fucking blessing that cancer was to me. So this episode's the same. As I meet more and more men out there or women out there who feel like they're struggling with their men, or men who are struggling with being a man, I can point them to an episode and say, dude, go listen to this, because these are my feelings on what it is to be a man. This is what I think is being a man. Obviously, at my age, being a man and the responses or the feelings that I have here are going to be very different to a 21-year-old, but I spend a lot of time these days with the young bucks, with the 20-year-olds, the 25-year-olds, the 30-year-olds. And I'm learning more and more how hard it is for those guys to be men, because they haven't yet gone through the experience of the 30s and the early 40s that I've gone through to harden that skin and build that armor around you. So these guys, I really feel for you guys. I know that it's tough being a man in today's world. Hopefully what I share here also helps you. I find like how society's just castrated you, and made you question what actually comes naturally to you. So one of the things that I think is worth sharing about is that, we talk about in society today. Society today is all about living your best life. It's about live your truth, live your best life, Instagram life, all that stuff. And you must live according to the way you feel. But I found that that's only true, and you can only live the way you feel as long as you don't feel like a man. Like, live the way you feel, but don't get too toxic masculinity on us. Don't get too confident. Don't get too competitive. Don't get too ambitious, because that's toxic masculinity. And it's crazy to me, because those traits, and I've listed a few of them down that I want to say, are what make us men, and what come naturally to us when we wake up in the morning. This is how we feel. This is how we identify. This is what comes naturally to us. And then what I'm finding, more and more people come to me and say, yeah, I feel these traits, but I feel them in private because I don't want to express them too much, because then I'll get shut down and told I'm being toxic and all that stuff. And I get pushed around. Like, I don't want to upset anyone or insult anyone. And I think obviously there's a line to be drawn. You can't be too masculine, because we need space for the feminine. But it's also good, I think, to be able to express ourselves as men and just allow us to be a man. Some of the traits that I've written down, I just kind of sat down and said, like, what is it to be a man in my eyes? And I wrote down dominant and competitive. It's dominant. It is. Men like to be dominant. We like to know that we've got the reins, that we're in control, and competitive, because that's what's gotten us this far as humankind. I don't care what you say. We've gotten this far as humans. We've landed on Mars. We've explored the oceans. We've climbed to the highest mountains. We've built a network of cables and information that's shared around the world in an instant. We've done all that because we like to be dominant. Men like to be responsible. We like to be responsible. I don't know why it's shit, because being responsible means you have to take care of shit, and that it's on your neck, it's on your head. But we like that. And I feel like sometimes we like to be responsible for things that we can be responsible for. We also like women to be responsible for things that they are responsible for. And I think that it is 100% about both sides. We can't have one without the other. You just can't have one without the other. And when you do have one without the other, it's a complete imbalance. And I think that's what I'm saying is, we like to wake up in the morning knowing that we've got to go and find food and make money and make sure security is taken care of, and make sure that, like, we like that. Men are ambitious and capable. We wake up in the morning and we feel capable. We feel like we're going to get shit done. And we like feeling like that because it's who we are. And then we want to go out there and show the world our capability. That's where our ambition comes in. We want to go out there and show off. That's why when you're sitting at an outdoor cocktail bar on a Saturday afternoon, some tosser in his BMW M3 revs his engine and drives down the road, because he wants everybody to show how capable he is. Is that good masculinity? I don't think that's good masculinity. I think that's stupid masculinity. Wait till you hear the last trait, then you'll get it. But we just like to be ambitious. We like to be capable. We like to be decisive and determined and goal-oriented. And we like to accomplish shit. We like being protective and supportive. I think we like to know that the woman in our lives, by the way, I might as well just say this. This isn't a sex, straight, gay, lesbian thing. This goes for all men, whether you're gay or straight or whatever, and it goes for all women. And it's completely gray. We switch over. Some women, not some women, all women also have these traits. Women also like to be dominant, competitive, responsible, ambitious, decisive, protective, and support. We all have this in us, but just for men, it's just a little bit stronger, and it's what comes more naturally to us. And we still, at some point, come to the woman and go, bro, I need you to be protective of me. I need you to be supportive of me. So it works both ways, this. And I know this is a very one-sided conversation around only men, but that's where I'm coming from, because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. I'm not hating on women or what they're capable of, or not saying that they can't do any of this. 100% you can. And 100% you should. And 100% I fucking love it when a woman is ambitious or dominant or competitive. There's nothing better than meeting a woman who's competitive, who goes, fuck yeah, bro, let's go. Let's hit it, let's go. There's nothing better. Men like to be charitable. And that's a whole other thing that'll come in future episodes, because that's a really important part for me. Here are the fun ones. Men like to be crude and inappropriate. We like to make dirty jokes. We like to laugh at inappropriate shit. We like to make people go, dude, that's not cool. That's what we like. It's just in us. And we like to be fucking dumb. The bottom line is, men like to be fucking dumb. We don't always want to think with our heads. This is the reason, this last one, being fucking dumb, this is the reason that we share videos on men's chats of guys exploding rockets, or putting a firecracker under a pan and watching it explode, or shooting guns. We're fucking idiots. That's why. Men are idiots. And we love being idiots. We love being idiots, and some of us even love the fact that women call us idiots, because it's lacquer. It means that we're being men. It just comes naturally. I can't explain it. Someone one day will explain to us from a psychological perspective. It's just who we are. So this is who we are. This is what we want naturally. We don't ask for it. It just comes out of us. It's in our DNA, our hormones, our science is this. And we can't do it any other way. So what I'm finding is that we still can't stop this stuff because of who we are. We can't stop doing these things or behaving in these ways. But the men that I'm talking to are doing it in quiet. They're being competitive in quiet. They're being ambitious in quiet. They're being decisive and determined. They're not doing it to the full extent that they're capable, because they're scared that it's going to be, they just don't feel like there's a space in their life to do it. And obviously there's a line to be drawn. You can't do it to the detriment of the women around you, or the children around you, or the other men around you. There are some guys out there who are ambitious to a fault. And I can think of, like, as an example, Elon Musk. I think the guy's great. I think he's phenomenally talented. He's done exceptionally good stuff. But is everything he do good? No. I feel like some of the stuff he does, I feel the same way about Donald Trump. I'm like, bro, you're an absolute idiot. Like, why do you do or say the things you do? It's unnecessary to be that kind of a man. So it does become, there is an element of where it becomes too much and becomes harmful. But it's also harmful to hold it back and not put it out there, because I feel like we need to have this kind of stuff in society, in the micro society, in the local society. I'm not talking about international politics or international space travel here. I'm talking about in your backyard, in your neighborhood, in your business. Whether you're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, it's good to have these traits, but keep control of them. And make sure they're not imposing on other people, or making other people feel comfortable, or hurting you or others. Sorry, I'm obviously reading some notes, because I made a lot of notes for this, because it's an important topic to me. We're doing it at 50%, and we don't want to be perceived as some Andrew you-know-who. We don't want to be perceived as this female basher or woman basher. We want to love women. We want to support the shit out of women. We want women to support the shit out of us. That's what real men do. Insecure men oppress women. And the people that I speak to in my life, and the people who have come to me after putting stuff out there, are not insecure men. They are men. They're South African and international men who just want the best for their family and their friends. They want the best for the woman in their life. They want the woman in their life to be operating at a level that they struggle to keep up at. That's what they want. They want their woman in their life. They want to support them so well and have their back so well that the woman in their life are standing there going, dude, I'm outpacing you. Keep up. And that man is going, fuck, I better catch a wake up. This chick's good. This chick's better than me. I better get going. Like, that's what we want. That's what secure men want. Insecure men don't want women to succeed. fuck them. Fuck them. We don't have time for that. Like a secure man will turn around and go, dude, there's no space for that. It's a lot. I realize it's a lot, and I've been going for 30 minutes or so. I want to keep this powerful and short and digestible, so I'm going to stop it there. I've got 5 other things that I want to talk about being a man, but I'm going to put it into a separate episode because, as I say, I think it could be I've said my piece, and I'm proud of myself, by the way. I'm stoked that I did this. I feel good for a first episode. I feel like the energy was good. I feel like obviously I didn't have anybody to bounce stuff off of or get some feedback from or know how it was going, but I feel good. I'm stoked that I put myself into an uncomfortable situation, and I feel comfortable in it. I feel comfortable enough that I'm going to do this again. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode and that you take this episode away and appreciate what I was trying to do. It's all coming from a place of love and support. I want the men who hear this to be motivated to stand up and stop doing manly things in private. Put it out there and show the women in your life just how you want to show up for them and how much you want to support them. And for the women who hear this, I hope you don't recognize any of this in the men that are in your life. But if you do, give them this episode. Let them listen to this. Maybe it'll help them. I'm telling you that you want this in your life. As a woman, you want a man who's got your back in your life. Because when you've got a man who's got your back, who's fighting for you, who's pushing you, who's supporting you, protecting you, who's ambitious in his own way and goal-oriented and getting shit done, your life is going to be better as well. And your kid's life is going to be better as well. So share this with them. And young or old, guys, I don't give a shit what level you're at. Let me know if this helps, because I feel like there's a way to be a man in this world today that's healthy and supportive of all without being a toxic masculine Andrew, you know who, wanker. Yeah, that's what I have to say. Thank you guys very much for checking it out. As always, I love you very much, and I appreciate all the feedback and love that comes from this podcast. Reach out to me. As always, I'm loving the ideas that come through for episodes. I love the questions. I love hearing your personal stories where everybody else is at in your life. And I've always said that from day one. I want to hear what journey you're on. I'm on a journey. I'm still on a journey. And I'm loving the journey. It's getting better every day. But everybody's on a journey. And I want to hear what your journey's on, because people are in some interesting stuff, man, and doing some interesting things. So that's all. Thank you very much. Goodbye.